So Elon Musk just announced big Tesla news. The Tesla Robotaxi fleet in Austin should roughly double next month, and that post was in response to this post. I've also heard from a lot of followers who can't get rides or have to wait for a very long time. There aren't nearly enough vehicles in the Robotaxi fleet, said Sawyer. Prasad also commented, "This is good news, but in my opinion, it needs to be much larger. Basically impossible to hail Robotaxi in Austin at the moment, which is a shame because it's an incredible service." Jeff Lutz also has a thought about this. Instead of fleet times, maybe the metric should just be average wait times, going from the baseline of X today to Y by December. I think that's not a bad idea, but the problem with that is, to us as investors, it doesn't give us a clear picture of how many Robotaxis are in Tesla's fleet if we just go by this number. I think ideally we want to know both the number of Robotaxis in the fleet and also how long are the wait times. I think both metrics are extremely important. Someone says scaling cars isn't the issue, it's the safety driver. They are likely having issues hiring enough quality safety drivers. I don't think hiring safety drivers is a hard thing. I think that's actually really easy. Now, some investors are going to say things like, so Elon promised 500 Robotaxis with no safety monitor by the end of the year, and if it only doubles, it's not going to be anywhere near 500. Currently, Tesla has 29 vehicles, by the way, in Austin, so doubling would mean going to basically 58. For context, Waymo has 200 vehicles and 89 square miles in Austin for a fleet density of 2.25 vehicles per square mile. So Tesla's area of service is much bigger, but it has quite a fewer vehicles. And Dylan here from Electrified is saying, safe to say 500 in Austin by end of year isn't going to happen then. Would love to know what the current limiting factor is. I assume the limiting factor is Tesla wants to go really safe. And it appears like V14 is significantly better than V13, and the comfort is improving with the latest V14 version. So maybe before going wide, they want to make sure that they have this newest software version installed in all Robotaxis and that this new version is actually really solid and good. Now, how many Robotaxis in total does Tesla have right now operating? They have 29 vehicles in Austin and 59 vehicles spotted in Bay Area, which is San Francisco. Now, remember that analyst I covered that said that Tesla is a must-own stock because the world is about to change dramatically? And so here's Elon's reply to that analyst. I've tried to warn them and even offered to license Tesla FSD, but they don't want it. Crazy. When Legacy Auto does occasionally reach out, they tepidly discuss implementing FSD for a tiny program in 5 years with unworkable requirements for Tesla, so pointless. By the way, did you notice the dinosaur emojis here? Elon is such a troll. I believe eventually other automakers are going to license Tesla's FSD software, which makes sense because if they don't, a lot of them are going to go out of business. But Gary Black has some thoughts. Legacy Auto will allow its EVs to be charged at Tesla Superchargers, but would never allow Tesla to take control of their full self-driving capabilities. EVs and unsupervised autonomy are table stakes for remaining in the automotive business. I don't fully agree with that. If you license the technology from Tesla for FSD, you will remain in the business, I believe. Every manufacturer will develop their own EV and autonomous capabilities. He continues, I've often said there could be one or more legacy auto companies that sign a license deal with Tesla, and I have in the past included it as a positive Tesla catalyst. That said, I continue to believe unsupervised autonomy is too important strategically for any auto manufacturer to just cede to Tesla. I do agree with that they will not try to just cede voluntarily to Tesla, but they will have no other choice is what's going to happen. Hence, virtually all auto manufacturers, again continues, will continue to invest in autonomous vehicles just as they continue to invest in EVs despite their current lack of profitability. I disagree with Gary Black totally on this point. I think it's a bit more like what Amazon did to a lot of small businesses. Sure, Amazon put out a lot of small businesses out of business. However, it also created a lot of small businesses that can sell on Amazon. By the way, recently, the biggest wave yet of FSD V14.2 has gone out to hardware 4 vehicles. So check your app. If you have a hardware 4 vehicle, you might have V14.2 now. Also, Tesla is adding a new prompt in their Robotaxi app requesting user consent for enhanced in-cabin data sharing. This opt-in screen specifically targets 2 key areas of data collection designed to improve vehicles' autonomous capabilities and support features. Analytics are anonymous. In-cabin data isn't linked to you unless needed for a safety event or support request. I did, however, see quite a few complaints about 14.2's speed profiles not working as well as they did before, but for all Omar, speed profiles were great. Not so much for dirty Tesla. He wants speed profiles to be exactly how they were before. Max speed option would have solved too fast, which Tesla obviously thinks they were too fast if they nerfed them, while still giving us a faster option when enabled/needed. And for him, Mad Max is slow now. This is actually quite fun. Tesla's new self-driving stats page and V14.2 sort of gamifies FSD a little bit because it makes me want to hit a 100% self-driving percentage, says Sawyer. It's killing me being at 99%. I'm sure others on V14 feel the same, which will likely increase how often FSD is used overall. Now we just need leaderboard. So yeah, it is sitting at 99.9%. 300 miles exactly. Wow, that's so precise. Exactly 300.0 miles out of total 302.6 miles. This is quite a post from Omar. First drive with FSD V14.2 was absolutely poetry. That's quite a word to describe FSD. It's poetry. I am going to take notes here. Did everything for me. No intervention. Slow the way it weaves through open spaces and traffic. FSD is the only self-driving system that really drives like me. And as we can see in the stats, the drive was 100% on FSD. I actually really like seeing these screenshots like this. Like someone can post a video of FSD now. Let's say it's like a 2-hour drive and then they post a screenshot like this. I'm like, oh, no interventions, basically. Yeah, good. Very good. I don't need to like guess how the drive went. I just look at the screenshot and I'm like, okay, good. Oh, and right here, this instantly stopped for the ambulance. Okay, this was good. Very good. Very good. I'm impressed. Now, Tesla is also doing something that many investors have requested Tesla to do for a long time. Tesla is running paid advertisements on X, though, about FSD supervise. Here's an ad they started running yesterday. Okay, so it just shows how it avoids collisions and potential danger. Yeah, I think this is the video from Tesla's full self-driving page. So they just basically just cut that up and put that into an ad. Okay, that's a nice slowdown. And here I like how it avoided the person getting out of the car. And the caption here says, the description of the video, with full self-driving supervised engaged, you are 7 times less likely to be involved in an accident. Okay. I would say this is a good ad. And you know what would be an even better ad, probably? Compile like 100, 500 situations like that, where it's basically avoiding collisions. And like, it's very clear. There's about to be a collision, and then because of FSD, it avoids a collision. Or it could have been possibly very close to a collision, but the FSD software just makes it smooth and not stressful. Do a compilation of 1 hour where every 10 seconds something like that happens, and then say, hey, look, here are 500 times a collision has been avoided. This was like 2 minutes. 2 minutes is fine, but when you see hours and hours of stuff like that, I think that's going to have a very different impact, because you can always compile like, you know, a few moments here and there. Anyone can do that, but hours and hours, that would be really impressive. I think that would really sell. And I don't even mean from a point of view that it would sell because people would watch the video for hours. I am more talking about people would start talking about how it can just avoid these situations over and over again. Like you go on TV or you talk to your friend, oh, have you seen that ad from Tesla? For 2 hours, it just nonstop, every 10 seconds, it just avoids a collision. We need a Tesla. I think most people would just watch like the first few minutes. Definitely not like all 2 hours, let's say. But I think it would be quite a big thing that Tesla could do. Oh, here we go again. Tesla Sweden faces fresh union blockade at Gothenburg paint shop in Sweden. Trade union IF Metal's latest notice ordered a full work stoppage for all Tesla-related activity. Paint jobs on Tesla-owned vehicles, factory warranty repairs, and more are frozen. Homer comments, when Optimus is ready to start automating human jobs, let's start by deploying them in Sweden first. Okay, not a bad idea, actually. But Tesla has dealt with this for a while now, and Tesla is going to continue successfully dealing with this. However, I've been to Sweden this summer in September also, and people hate Tesla over there. Oh my god. But the thing is, Sweden is such a small market for Tesla, it's basically irrelevant. And then Franz, who is the lead designer at Tesla, said this about Elon Musk. Elon Musk is a visionary, somebody who continues to just push the boundaries, looking for a future that we really want to aspire to be in, worth fighting for. And Elon responded with, Franz is an incredible designer and understands engineering too. It's been such a pleasure working with him for over 16 years. Now, there is also some news here about the Boring Company, which will open its first tunnel to Harry Reid International Airport in Las Vegas in Q1 of next year, transporting up to 20,000 people per hour for 50 to 80% lower cost than an Uber. So cost for passengers downtown to airport, $12, which is an 8-minute ride. Airport to Las Vegas Convention Center, $10, which is a 5-minute ride. This will massively cut down travel time for visitors, reduce traffic on surface roads, and save travelers money. Also, President Steve Davis says they could cut tunneling costs to about 10 million per mile within 2 to 5 years, and eventually to 3 to 4 million per mile. For comparison, traditional tunneling projects cost 500 million to $3 billion per mile, depending on its size, complexity, and location. 3 to 4 million is about what it costs to build 1 mile of above ground highway. This is revolutionary. So the Boring Company has a bright future ahead of itself, it appears to me, and it could very well be that in the future, later, eventually, the Boring Company might be taken publicly. So I think it's something that we should all pay attention to, and certainly I am highly interested in investing in the Boring Company too. So I will continue to cover the Boring Company. Also, the Boring Company tunnel in Las Vegas has now moved more than 3.5 million people through the Vegas Loop since it came online in 2021, according to the company. And every ride, of course, was in a Tesla. Oh, we are actually seeing some good news for Tesla from Europe. Europe sales have inflected up. James says, I have been calling for a decent Q4 and quarter-over-quarter growth in Europe since my very first forecast of Q4. So this is actually looking pretty good. Now, remember what Tesla did with offering everyone to basically have a Tesla vehicle for free, like a long multiple day test drive is what you could call it. And Tesla is sort of disrupting the rental car business. Is this really disrupting it, James is asking? Tesla is hiring rental readiness specialists in multiple locations here: Austin, Nashville, Fort Worth, and Houston. Omar says, yes, but not with this program. The car rental business has no future. The future is autonomous on-demand rental. Now, Tesla is not exactly doing great in Sweden, but in Norway, Tesla has opened a large new showroom and service center in this specific location. The new Model Y Performance is on display. Interesting exterior showroom design here. Oh, and check this out. The largest Tesla Supercharger in the world is now fully open in Lost Hills, California. 164 total charging stalls, 12 pull-through stalls for people towing, 11 megawatts of ground-mount solar and canopies on 30 acres of land, 10 Tesla Megapacks with 39 megawatt hours of storage. So if anyone feels lost looking for a charging stall, well, feel lost no more. Just go to the Lost Hills in California. I have taken a few road trips that were like 10 hours long in a Tesla, and more chargers is definitely going to help. The road trips were fine. I had no issues, but it would have been nice to have an option to have more chargers, so certainly. Because it's a little tiny bit annoying, although not really quite annoying, but a little bit, yes, to need to charge, and then you have to like take a 5 or 10 minute detour. And before taking the detour, you see a gas station, which is not outside of your ideal route. And a few times I just wish I could just pull into that gas station and I wouldn't need to take this 5 or 10 minute detour, because a 5-minute detour really is a 10-minute detour because you need to drive both ways. And a 10-minute detour is a 20-minute detour. And if you do that 3 times, your 10-hour trip turns into an 11-hour trip, which doesn't sound like that big of a difference. But when you're taking these really long road trips, even a little bit longer, is starting to take time away from your sleep, and then you arrive, you have no time to do anything else. You're just basically done with the day. You have nothing else to do. But I will say that most of Tesla's chargers are placed in very good locations. So if you are not in a rush, it actually makes the trip a lot more interesting because you are forced to stop in these beautiful, nice, scenic, wonderful locations with lots of things to do. I greatly enjoy that, actually. And that was actually one of the reasons why I chose to do the road trip in the car instead of flying on an airplane. I was like, oh, let's explore California and Oregon and Washington State. And it was a nice road trip. Ooh, Elon Musk is doing great with Grok. Grok.com just hit 10 million daily visits in a single day, the same day Grok 4.1 launched. It went from 6 to 8 million a day to 10 overnight. All right, well, let's see if it sticks, though. I'm sure it will eventually. I mean, this number is going to go up. It's just a matter of time. And Elon Musk calls this progress. And then Elon is challenging humans to beat Grok. Let's see if Grok 5 can beat the best human team at League of Legends in 2026 with these important constraints. Number 1, can only look at the monitor with a camera, seeing no more than what a person with 20/20 vision would see. Number 2, reaction latency and click rate no faster than human. Join XAI if you are interested in solving this element of AGI. Note, Grok 5 is designed to be able to play any game just by reading the instructions and experimenting. All right, well, this is quite interesting. Also, this is Elon on Grok 4.1 fast, beating other AIs, not bad, and Grok 4.2 will be much better. All right, cool. And this is relevant to us Tesla stock investors because if Grok does well, it means that Elon is in charge of the best AI in the world, not just with FSD, but also general AI. And I don't see how that would be not good for Tesla. This is only good for Tesla. And I think there will be some sort of a partnership later on, especially when the Optimus bot comes out. There's going to be something between Grok and the Optimus bot. There's going to be something there. And speaking of other companies I'm interested in investing, Starlink and SpaceX basically. Ukraine has just become one of the first countries in the world to launch Starlink direct-to-cell technology, which allows you to send SMS even without mobile network coverage. All right. And then Dan Ives was on TV talking about Tesla stock going to potentially as far as $800 in the next 12 months.
It's about robotics. It's about autonomous. Musk now wartime CEO. And I continue to view, I mean, base case $600, bull case $800. They are going into what I believe, when it comes to AI, physical AI, two best companies in the world, it's NVIDIA.
Are they a car company?
And Tesla. They're not. Look, I think it's almost offensive to call them a car company.
Definitely a good point from Dan Ives here. It's at this point, it's definitely offensive to call Tesla just a car company. And then Tesla China VP Grace Tao has released a statement after the Wall Street Journal reported this month that Tesla has been requiring suppliers to exclude China-made components in its manufacturing of cars in the US. Tesla values the role of China-based suppliers and does not exclude any on the basis of country of origin or geographical location, whether in the US, China, or Europe. Tesla applies the same strict and objective standards for selecting suppliers across its global production facilities. Tesla's Shanghai factory achieved the lowest prices globally for consumers in China to buy its Model 3 and Model Y with the help of more than 400 domestic suppliers. More than 60 of them also supply Tesla globally. I don't really see the issue with any of this because we have always known that basically Tesla tries to localize all of its supply chains, and that means basically excluding some other manufacturers that are very far away from the factory. And also, of course, with the added geopolitical tension, I see no issues with Tesla excluding some of these suppliers. Well, the UK is making an interesting move. A new tax for electric and hybrid vehicles has been announced by the UK government. Starting in April 2028, electric car drivers will pay a road tax of 3 pennies per mile, while plug-in hybrid drivers will pay 1.5 pennies per mile, with the rates going up each year with inflation. Under the measures, an electric car driver clocking up 8,500 miles in the 2028-2029 financial year is expected to pay about £255. According to the OBR, the new per mile charge is expected to bring in £1.1 billion in the 2028-29 financial year, rising to 1.9 billion by 2030. The new tax is about half the fuel duty rate paid by drivers of petrol cars, according to the government's independent forecaster, the Office for Budget Responsibility. I don't really have much of an issue with this, actually. I think makes sense. But by that, I mean, sure, you can put a tax on EVs somehow, because with gas cars, you pay for extra higher taxes when you get the fuel. I'm not quite sure, though, that it's a good idea to implement it exactly like this per mile. I assume drivers will need to report to the government how many miles they drive or something. Interesting. And then we got pretty important news here. Tesla has completed Nevada self-certification process for its Robotaxi. I just confirmed, says Sawyer, with the Nevada DMV that Tesla can now deploy and operate autonomous vehicles on public roads in the state. Tesla still needs approval from the Nevada Transportation Authority to operate a commercial Robotaxi / ride-hailing service. The company will likely apply for that permit very soon, and once Tesla receives the final approval, it will then be able to launch a paid Robotaxi service for the public. That's it for today's news. My name is Matt Postius, and I will see you in the next video, probably on Friday. One more quick thing before I finish, actually. There's one more post from Peggy. Remember, folks, Elon said Tesla will have 500 Robotaxi in Austin by end of this year. Currently, there are about 30 Robotaxis in Austin. Doubling by the end of this month would make it 60. Tesla would need to keep doubling every week after that to reach 500. If this happens, that would be wild. But in this post, Elon said that the doubling would be next month, so I would not expect this to happen by the end of this month. But in the beginning of the next month, okay, maybe that's possible, but we'll see. Either way, in the long term, I think it's very clear that Tesla is going to have very good and extreme success with robotaxis and FSD, and it's just a matter of time before that materializes in Tesla stock exploding.